everyone, it's Nicola Milan from singerssecret.com, your one-stop shop for everything related to singing. Today we're going to be talking about how much to charge for your gigs. Now I'm going to be focusing specifically on cafe type gigs that you would get in your local area. The music industry is a completely unregulated industry in that there are no standard rates from one city to the next about how much you should charge for your gigs. And when you start going into the realm of gigging for pubs and things like that, so you have a band, say you do cover songs, you know, that's on the local radio station, top 40 kind of stuff. If you can bring a lot of people into the pub to drink and eat food and dance, then you can start charging a little bit more. But that's a completely different bag. What I'm going to talk about now are just like cafe gigs. And these are the types of gigs that you wouldn't necessarily advertise a lot with your own promotional efforts, because you're going to get paid a set fee for them, and it's not based on door sales like you would for a show where you were either supporting another band or you were headlining. So that's a completely different gig. We're focusing today just on those local cafe gigs. So how do you know how much to charge for these cafe restaurant type gigs? Now, I believe that the easiest way to go about this is to maintain real transparency amongst yourself and with other musicians who are also gigging in your local area, because the fees do vary from city to city and country to country depending on where you're in. But I think it's really important to make sure that the rates that you're charging are quite similar to the rates that everybody else is charging. The reason that I think this is important is because it sets a standard rate for pay for musicians. So and it avoids things like musicians undercutting each other to try and get in there and get the gig. And all that results in is the entire industry suffering. Musicians get paid less, and you know, you're not going to get paid to do a good job, which is, it's just not fair. If you think about how much, you know, musicians practice, you know, you want to make sure you get paid a decent amount. And so maintaining transparency with other musicians is key to achieving this. So how do you go about finding out what other musicians charge? Well, you can actually just go and ask them. So, the other musicians out there are not your competition. They are, in fact, potential friends. See, most people think that they can't go and ask another musician that's already gigging at a cafe that they want to gig at, because they're going to think that that musician will think that they are direct competition and that they're going to steal the gig from them. This is just not true. There is enough work to go around, and if you're in a local area, guaranteed that other musician is calling up different venues that you'd potentially be calling up as well and asking them for work. So the way that you would go about finding this out is, if you don't know the musicians already, is have a look on the cafe's roster to see who's performing. Then you can go online, Google those musicians, and find, you know, find them on Twitter or Facebook or something online where you can actually reach out to them and say, hey, I heard your stuff online, I saw that you're gigging at this cafe, I'm really interested in pitching there as well, but I wanted to check how much you charge them so we can keep the rates fair and the same. And most, you know, 9 times out of 10, other musicians will actually give you the information you're looking for and will be grateful to you for making sure that you're charging similar rates. They won't think of you as stealing the gig off them or as competition. Now, I actually started a Google Hangout group that I organise for once a month with a bunch of other local musicians who are in my area, and we all gig at the same places. But what we do is we get together and we talk about how much we're charging, different contacts, you know, everything from like different setting up audio for shows, you know, everything that, you know, local musicians would need to know about. But it's fantastic, this group, because we really, you know, cooperate and share information, and there's no holding back. And you know what, I get just as much work now as I did before, you know, from sharing all this information with other musicians. So the worst thing that can happen is if you approach a musician and they've got some ego problem and they don't want to help you out and give you that information, you know, find someone else, you know, that will give you that information, and these people will eventually become your friends and you might be able to support them at another gig. It's a great way of finding new musicians to be friends with in your local area. So there you have it. That's how you go about working out how much to charge for cafe gigs. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please share it with your friends that you think might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new episodes. And also head over to my website, singersecret.com, because I have a whole heap of other free tips up there for you. And hop onto my email list, because I put singing secrets in there that I don't put anywhere else and you don't want to miss them. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nicola Milan and I'll talk to you again soon.